Thanks for
Hey,
having me, man.
yeah, there you are.
How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Good to have you, champ.
Yeah, mate, it feels good carrying that belt. Can't lie.
Yeah, unbelievable. Thank you for coming on. Welcome on to the DKM Plus Instagram Boxing Insta Live. For those that don't know, this man, he is a hard-hitting cruiserweight powerhouse
Let's go.
and MAFS Star from 2023. He has just fought on our show on February the 9th at the Indigo O2 in a fight against Bob Voicey. How are you feeling since the fight?
No, I'm feeling good. Obviously, I got the belt, got to show off, I got the win. But I've done a lot of reflecting since that fight as well. I can see there's a lot of improvements. I could have done a bit better as well.
How does it sound? The DKM Plus Influencer Cruiserweight Champion.
It sounds great, and I think fits perfectly with my name. I'm a winner. That's what it is, and it belongs to me.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely brilliant to have you on. I mean, you must be loving life right now, Mr. Libber. You've got a new missus. You've got a new belt. What's next for you?
I want to win more gold, more glory. I want more belts. That's what's happening next.
One thing that we do need to get sorted out, though, we need to get you a fight name.
Yeah, no, I thought King Lieber goes quite well, but apparently people say I got to do something else.
Mate, listen, I think people should pop in the comments a nice name for him. I mean, personally, I would go for something like Paul Lights Out Lieber. Or what about this one? Actually, I've got a better one. What about Paul Lickman's Down Lieber?
Yo, can I write these down? Honestly, these are actually good. Yo.
Mate, you know, I've always spitted out some kind of lyrics. Yeah, no, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. How was the whole experience for you?
Nah, the experience was amazing from before the show to after the show to during the show. I think DK smashed out the park, honestly. I had great coaches like Coach Sol, Gary Olive, Alex Palmerton, like coaching me, warming me up. I got to shout out Banks Management as well. Like the whole experience, and all my friends had Tasha there supporting me. All my friends from MAFS, all my friends from home turned up. It was, you know what? It was a dream event, and DK smashed out the park.
Yeah. How did you find the whole build-up?
The whole build, I was excited. I can't lie, I didn't even know it was for a belt. I was just happy to fight at the time, and then when I found out it was for a belt, I was like, "Oh, come on, this is even better now. More of a reason for me to win."
Yeah, absolutely. Was it a harder fight than you anticipated?
Yeah, 100%. I think I'm a bit disappointed in my performance. Fair play to Bob. He came out with a game plan, just keep the high pressure. He didn't land too many hits on me, but at the end of the day, he slowed the game down. He slowed the fight down to his pace, and he definitely slowed me down a bit.
I mean, I was commentating on that fight. I thought it was actually quite a high-paced fight, and Bob surprised me actually because I actually thought his fitness was much better than I was expecting it to be, and he kept the pressure on you, and he kept the pace up actually. But it was scrappy. There's no doubt about it. It wasn't one of my fight of the night contenders, that's for sure. It was scrappy, and you had to dig deep at times.
Yeah.
Did you see it the same way?
You know what? It definitely was a pretty fight. I think that's why I look back, I'm not too happy with it. I respect Bob. Game plan, high pressure. If I had stopped flowing hands, just hold me, slow me down, and do what it worked for him. But I should have done better in that. I should control the ring a lot better. And if he does come and give me pressure, just give it back to him.
I mean, sometimes though, you know, you're a bit more of an accomplished boxer than Bob. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
You know, you've had more fights than him. You've had a bit more experience than him. You've been boxing longer than him. But sometimes when a boxer is fighting against like a novice or a newbie who's come to brawl, it is hard to look good against, you know. So I wouldn't beat yourself up on that. You know, it's hard to control a guy that's swinging and coming, you know, throwing big punches. You know, you're going to get a smoother fight on the eye when you've got two technicians.
Yeah.
Not doing Bob disservice, but his technique, you know, wasn't as good as yours, and it's just made for a scrappy fight. Do you also see it like that as well?
No, 100%. I think I got to agree with you. I think you analysed the fight perfectly. I think I'm technically was better than him, but Bob just came and made it into a brawl. And I think that worked out more in his favour. I think maybe he knew technically he might not have the advantage over me. So the fact it was a brawl brought it down to his level. And do you know what? He made the fight a lot more even. than I think anyone was expecting, especially me in that ring.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. And I said on the commentary, and I kind of felt before, just from my experience with boxing, is that for him to have a chance of winning or have a chance of it being a tight fight, he had to fight like that. And, he had to put pressure on you, throw punches, stay with you with the fitness, and really hope that he could land that big bomb that can change it. I think anyone who knows boxing would agree with that. Would you say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing. I don't think there was too many shots Bob actually caught me with, but there was more times he was holding and I was holding as well. I can't say it was him because at the end of the day I was doing it back to him, hence why it was so scrappy.
Yeah.
But I think what saved me is the fact the times he was boxing, I caught him more times than he caught me, and I was able just to duck out of those punches. With more experience, though, I think he would have been a lot more tighter than I thought. But I did question the decision when I heard split decision, because I didn't see any rounds where he actually won over me.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's my opinion, so I might be definitely wrong.
No, I would agree with that as well. I'm always honest and I'm never biased. I'm on commentary. It's not a good look to be biased. I felt you won every round, but I think he did. If I remember correctly, round 2, you did have a chin check. You did have a chin check, and he came through it.
Yeah, honestly, round 2, there was one he got me nicely. I got to give it to it, and I remember thinking, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to let that happen again. So I was just ducking and weaving. He first one, I just ducked underneath it.
Yeah, he definitely got you with a good shot. But like I said, it's good to get a chin check. It's good to take a shot. It's nice to have a fight. Obviously, everyone's dreams to have a fight and you don't get hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this is boxing, man. You jump in a shower, you're going to get wet. And you got wet and you got out of the shower, dried yourself off, and then continued to get back to work. It was a pleasure to see. And whilst it was a scrappy fight, I did feel that you won every round and you did enough to win comfortably in the end. Well, let's get on to the call out. So, straight afterwards, you called out the Raksus.
Yes.
Do you still stand by that? Are you ready for them next?
Still stand by it. So obviously, I still Ashley, to be fair, after my fight, and we had a quick discussion. His weight's way lower than mine, and I know that's his get out of jail card. Obviously, he's not going to come up to my weight. So I thought, I call out Ashley, try and get through to Miles. Because obviously, he's saying Miles has lost one fight. So what, is he only going to take easy fights from now on?
Yeah. So which one do you want? You want Miles?
So obviously, I want Miles. He's my weight class. He's my size. It'll be more of an even fight. Definitely. Obviously, Ashley's much smaller than me. I'm he has 20 kg on him. So unrealistically, it's not going to happen. But me and Miles, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Him saying he lost one fight is not an excuse to keep ducking fights. You're going to have to fight someone better than you eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. You make fair point. Ashley's 20 kilos below you, and there's weight classes in this business for a reason.
Exactly.
Because it hurts when you get hit by big man.
Yeah, 100%. Especially my right hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, the cruiserweight division is no joke. They're a little bit quicker than the heavies, and you can bang in that division. Hopefully Raksu jumps on here. It'd be great if he jumps on here. Let's get him in.
Yeah.
If he wants to jump in, just request to jump in, and I'll have you both on. No problems at all. So, what is your plans now? Then, what is going to be your plan? Obviously, you want the Raksu fight. Can we expect to see you? Can we expect to see that on DKM? Or are you pushing for misfits?
To be fair, I'm pushing for misfits, but I've got the itch back. I've had a bit of 2 weeks off, enjoy being the champ, but I'm ready to fight anyone. And so I'm ready to literally go. If it's DKM, misfits, whichever, I'm happy for whatever happens next.
Mate, we've got to see you defend that belt though. So we welcome you back with both arms, because you were an absolute pleasure to deal with in the build-up. Listen, some fighters are aggy, some fighters don't want to promote the fight, some fighters just don't want to talk. Some fighters, I can't even have a face-off with them because, literally the paint would dry. So, it's refreshing to see someone like yourself who's good to, happy to communicate with the fight fans. You're happy to, let us know about your journey. Your wife came on as well, and we did a really good piece about the woman behind the fighter. Has Tasha got used to having to move over for that belt in the bed?
I think Tasha carries it more than me. The amount of support she gave me, honestly. Honestly, the amount of support she gave me off the ring, during the fight, I thought she was going to jump in at one point, honestly.
Yeah. Literally, like, she's in the fight with you. And it's, as I said, it's always good for a fighter to have a good woman behind them. You know, some women don't like fighting.
Yeah.
You know,
She's opposite. She loves it.
Yeah, she loves it. She embraces it. Also with things like your dieting and, you know, just mental support. You know, you come back from a bad spar or whatnot. Sometimes, you know, it's nice to have a nice, relaxed environment around you. She absolutely loved it. She was in there with you on fight night, that's for sure.
Honestly, I'll come back from a bad spot and she'll be like, yeah, Paul, you need to do better. Like, there's no relaxing. She's making sure I'm on it non-stop, 100%.
Yeah.
She'll be telling me off, even if I have like a slight like drink that I'm not supposed to have. She'll be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's good though. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me training. It keeps me focused.
Okay, let's get Raksu in now. He's coming in.
Yes.
Okay, let's get him in. Okay, just bear with me, Paul, whilst I just...
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, jump in.
Let me just fiddle around with technology.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Mr. Raksu.
What are you telling me, bro? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for popping on. My name's Gunman. I'm hosting this show for DKM Plus Boxing. Paul obviously just fought on our show. I also run an Instagram chat show myself. We may as well just get the intros out of the way.
Yeah.
Now, following Paul's fight at the Indigo 02 on February the 9th, where he beat down another fellow MAFS fighter, I was interviewing him and he called you out. His words, not mine. I want the Raksus next because they are shit. What is your response to that?
So my response to that is, and the reason why I came in there. Yeah. One, Paul, your manager, what's his app name?
Banks Management.
Banks Management. Listen, he needs a cuddle, bro, because that's a very angry and upset person. He needs some consoling. You know what I mean? But aside from that, like, Gunman, I actually said this to Paul already.
Yeah.
The call out didn't make a lot of sense because he said he wanted to fight either me or Miles because we were both shit and we take easy fights. Yeah. I said neither of us won our last fight. so that one goes out the window. And then I'm seeing a post again where obviously you say he wants to fight me. I'm like, bro, I'm chasing a belt at 165 pounds. Like, what? Are you coming down to see me?
Nah, you know what is? I said, like you said, we spoke after the fight, and you said, as soon as you told me your weight, I was like, shit. But I do what I thought. If I can't get to you because you're not going to come up to my weight, fair enough. I call you out along with Miles just to let him know what going in there. He's my weight class. We're around the same size. Yeah, he's had one fight, but he can't keep ducking it forever, innit?
I mean, bro, but of course he can. Like, we gotta be sensible here. You've had 7 fights and you've won all of them, right? He's had 1 fight and got knocked out in round 2. So, on what planet does it make sense for him to go, oh yeah, let me go and fight Paul? Do you get what I'm saying? And bro, as I said to you beforehand, like, obviously I'm excited for your journey. Like, I've got so much respect for anybody who starts boxing, and Coach Soul is someone who...
I think he wants to jump in as well, Coach Soul.
Yeah, bro, I've got so much respect and admiration for that man, innit? So I actually want to see you win, bro. Like, it will be dope, innit? But my thing was, there's other people for you to call out that are going to be way closer to you, because...
Well, let me get Coach Soul in. But yeah, Ashley, that's brilliant perspective. And I just said this before you came on, there are weight classes in this sport for a reason. It can't really be going bad enough a man that's 20 kg lower than you.
Yeah.
Let me just get Coach Soul in. Excuse me whilst bear with me with technology. I'm just going to slap him in now. Hold on 1 second.
Unless you got like 100 bags to put up in it, and I'll fight you, bro.
All right, mate. I'm not gonna go down to your weight class. I'm sure that's where you told me about shit.
Bro, for 100 bags, I'll make cruiser in it.
Yes, Coach Soul.
Easy, yo. What's happening?
Hello, welcome Coach Soul to the DKM Plus Boxing Insta channel. I am the Gunman. I am hosting this chat with Paul Libber following his fight on Married at First Sight Mega Clash That was at the Indigo 02. Now, he called out the Raksus. He called them both shit. Now, we've got weight discrepancy. We've got record discrepancy. Have you got any other fighters that he can take on?
He's my fighter, so he ain't going to take on my fighter. So
You got no one else that you want to put him in with outside of these guys?
But bro, Gunman, so, there's a lot of people for Paul to fight.
Yeah,
like there's
Ashley, obviously, Ashley's 165. Yeah, so that's Paul just got excited after the fight.
Yeah. I'm not getting to 190 unless I'm being paid so much money. It don't matter. Oh, where's he gone?
Where's he gone?
Oh, he might have dropped. He might have dropped out. We're getting back in because it looks like he's in the car. So, but Coach Soul's got a stable of fighters, hasn't he?
Yeah, but it's not about Soul's. It's not about Soul's stable because obviously Paul's not going to fight someone from the same team. Fair. My point is that actually, if you go on like the UWBC, what's it called? I'm just going to
try and get back in.
If you go on the IBC rankings, you'll see bare cruiserweights. Like, there's actually a lot of people that you can fight. Like, there's fights out there for you.
I see that people commentate who some fighters I should fight.
About that, guys.
That's all right. That's okay. Yeah, no, I was suggesting whether you'd match him with someone else on your stable, which I know that's highly unlikely. Who do you want to see? Who do you want to see Paul fight next? Then, Coach Soul.
I want to see him fight one of the guys on the Misfits roster, right? I think, like, obviously Ashley got excited after the fight and started calling you out.
Yeah,
stupid. You're not the same way, but I think like the 7-0 record that Paul has. You know, me as his coach, I'll just tell you right now, he does not look like a 7-0 fight, and he needs a lot of fucking improvement. Like, Paul, sorry, but I'm just going to say it how it is.
Yeah. No, I think
the guy he fought should have been taken care of completely differently. And Paul knows that there was things that I was very unhappy about leading up to the fight and are very, very unhappy about. And Paul hasn't talked about stuff. He's a very good guy. He had a lot of stuff going on in personal life and still does. So there's never an excuse. We've all got stuff going on fight night. But, like, he's really like a cruiserweight, right? He just about makes heavyweight. You know, because he doesn't carry a lot of fat. So, you know, if he was to fight someone at heavyweight, even Miles, I think like Miles would already have a weight advantage on him, number one.
Nah, Miles should be a cruiserweight. He's just got a dad bod.
That's even better.
Yeah, but Miles got a dad bod. You know what I'm saying? No, I think fights out there for you. Minicon is a legitimate one where Minicon's had about 5 or 6 fights now, and he wants to drop down from heavyweight to cruiserweight. He's got a big profile, but it's not so big that he'll be like stush and be like, no, I'm not fighting. I think Uguay is another potential. He was a big enough man to take on Arms Corleone. He wants to drop down to cruiserweight. I don't think he'd necessarily look at you and be scared, so he might say yes to that fight. DTG obviously is chasing the belt at the moment. This would be a tall task, but there's Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon's been itching for a shot at a title. Le'Veon's been itching for a fight. No one wants to fight Le'Veon. He hasn't been in the ring for over a year. If you were to call him out, that's a realistic one as well. There's Tristan Ham, who's just come into the scene, got himself a knockout. I think he would fight up to cruiserweight, so that's a potential there. You've obviously got the likes of FaZe, Tempar, and JMX, etc. But I reckon that they might turn around and be like, your profile is not necessarily big enough for them to get in the ring with. That might be how they look at it. If you could convince him and he's got a bit of a death wish, there's Ginty. But if
the money's on the table, everyone's got a death wish.
Can you get to 155? I've got an opponent.
Can I get to 155?
Yeah.
If I had 4 months and a lot of money, yeah.
I have an opponent. This guy.
Oh, is that a knockout king?
Nah. I'm not fighting him. Nah. That left hook was too vicious. Nah. Fox will put me to sleep, bro.
Knockout king.
That was a brutal knockout. Brutal knockout.
I'm just gonna go before I go train Fox. I just want to say, like I've got a lot of time for Ashley. He knows that. we've spoken for a long time, long duration on the phone and stuff like that. So got a lot of love for you, Ash. It's always there. But what I will say about boxing and in general, and Mike Tyson said a lot of things that are crazy in his career, but he said something that's very truthful when he fought his friend Clifford Etienne. And they was like, why did you fight your friend? And he was like, because you elevate each other, right? If I ask for a fight with Ash, and I'm around 165 or whatever, and he turns down the fight with me, it's not because, forget being scared or whatever or anything to do with that or where his status is. He's not helping elevate me and put food and money on my table. So I think the key thing with fighting is we shouldn't forget that we're giving each other, we're actually giving someone a helping hand up, and we're giving them food on the table, and that's how it's also always got to be looked at. And that's one thing I've always thought about Mike when he said that. Like, I was like, okay, you just fought your mate and respect. And Fox in his first fight, we knew Spartan J really well. Their team is like, I've known Yusuf for years, Xavier Miller, Kay Prospers from our gym. So we've known them guys for years, but we took the fight, beat him, and like, you put that aside. But it was just to elevate both of them. They both got paid, and Jay's cool now, like, he's all right, and that's what I would say. So elevating each other is one thing. Would it be a big fight with Paul and Miles? I think so, but I think at the same time there's a lot of options out there for Paul. If Miles isn't available, I guess there's others. You did say Minicon. That fight, again, he's my guy. He's like part of our team, man.
Yeah.
So that one.
You know what? The Miles fight, and I'll keep it 100 with you right now. Miles would probably say yes, right? Because just as a man, like, you're not gonna back down. But me, as his brother, and I know what his coach would say as well, would be like, you can't have one fight, get stopped in round 2, and fight against somebody who's 7-0.
Maybe you could have a tune-up before he fights Paul.
This is what I was gonna say. If Miles was to go in there and stop somebody and look great and be in shape, then
it's more the experience as well, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
It's his first fight.
But the truth is, on the circuit that we're in, you're gonna come across mates. You're gonna have to fight people Listen, you're gonna have to, and if it makes sense, it makes money, and the fans want it. If you like someone or not, you're gonna have to fight them. And it's really interesting what you said about Tyson fighting one of his friends.
Yeah,
it's business, and friendship goes out the window sometimes. We all respect each other. We're all fighters. We've been in the ring, and you respect each other. But when the bell goes, it's time to go to war, and it's business time, and then you can shake hands or whatnot afterwards. And that's the beauty of this sport. Who do you want to see Paul in with then next? If you've got one name, Coach Sol, one name, and it's got
I think realistically, he's already said it. I think obviously now Ash is saying Miles is an option for his next fight. Because ideally I'd want Paul out in a few months, and in that time probably Miles is looking to get out and get a little tune up. I haven't got, to be honest, I haven't got a name. I was kind of hoping that the guys would take that fight, because I'm just being real. Like, I'm just being like, I'm not playing no.
Let's be real.
No, Paul's got a lot of flaws, man. You can maybe exploit them, have a look and try and exploit them. And I thought maybe you might have seen something that night that Miles could have took care of. But I get it. I respect that.
So I think
sure.
If it was,
maybe like Uruguay, someone like that might be a good shout.
I think Uruguay and Minicon is probably most likely to say yes. I would say. I think he's most likely to be like, yeah, he's a smaller man. I'm not a heavyweight anymore. I think he jump onto the opportunity. The other thing you got to be wary of as well, Sol, is your reputation. Because as much as you're saying that Paul might not fight like a 7-0 fighter, the fact that people have so much respect for you as a coach, I'll be honest, I don't believe you. Because in my head, if you've taken Paul through 7 fights,
I've not taken through 7, I've taken through 1.
I've taken through 7.
Okay, so that's the detail. But when that gets out, it might make things a bit easier. But from my perspective, in my head, I'm thinking if Paul's been with Sol for this period of time, he's gonna be good. Do you know what I mean?
I'll be honest, Ashley. Okay, I commentated on Paul's last fight, and I agree with Coach Sol.
Yeah.
There was a lot of errors,
Paul,
and I'll be honest with you.
have this, man. These man's
I'll be
digging you
honest
out,
with.
bro.
I'll be honest. Honestly, I'll be honest with Paul as well. There was a lot of errors.
Yeah.
I think the opponent made it untidy and made it difficult and made it scrappy, and he had to because he had no experience.
Paul knows.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I could have done much better.
You know, the first round, if you watch the first round, Paul landed a couple of nice clean shots and then it got messy. And it normally gets like that when, you know, people haven't prepared correctly, Paul. And but he had his reasons. But he is like, you know, another guy that I was thinking, right? This would be a good one for Paul at cruiserweight, would be DK Money. Or Virus, one of them guys.
So Virus, I think you could get that fight. But Virus is did he fight a cruiser or light heavyweight?
I think light heavy, but he can get on the gear if he wants again and meet us at cruiser. Paul still fuck him up. We'll let him do the gear, it's fine.
Because really, what you're looking for, what you're looking for is you're looking for somebody who's just come off the back of a win and feels so confident they will fight an unknown quantity who looks as physically intimidating as you do, Paul. If somebody's just had a loss, right? If I'm DK Money and I've been knocked out by King Kenny and I've been knocked out by Virus, I'm not fighting Paul. You get what I'm saying? So you
are bang on.
It's
because
got to be someone who's like so you know when I took the Anthony Taylor fight and I was completely out of my depth, I took it because I had the fight before it and I won. So I was feeling like Superman. So I'm like, I don't care what he's done, I'll fight him anyway. Do you know what I mean? That's you got to find somebody who feels like that, or someone who's just desperate to fight, like Virus, who because he was banned and maybe nobody else will touch him, maybe he would be like, cool, this is my way back in.
Yeah, I agree.
Coach Sol, you've mentioned that your fighter needs a lot of work. I'm in agreement with you if he wants to step up. What are the main things inside the ring that you need to see from him in the next fight?
I think Paul knows, just work more on, he's had 7 fights, right? One of them being in a camp with me, and that one camp was trying to fix 6 camps. You understand? So it's bad habits, just getting rid of some bad habits, building the fundamental base, like everyone says it's a boring term, but yeah, he needs the fundamentals back in place and get comfortable with his style, get comfortable with the new style that I'd be giving him, and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like that's the key thing you need as a fighter, because if you're comfortable in the ring, then everything starts to become a little bit easier when you're trying to do it. If you're not comfortable, everything looks rushed, scrappy, and we saw that on fight night.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he needs to get back in the gym, and he needs to just carry. He knows what he's got to work on, and in time, I think by the end of the year we'll probably see a really completely different Paul Lieber, and that'll be more credit to the work that he's put in, because he's a hard worker. That's one thing. He never complains in the gym. He always does what I ask him to do. Like I said, he's had 7 fights, 6 of them not with me, so there's 6 fights. And he told me he was 6-0. I thought, what the fuck? Who the hell is he, man?
Do you see him as a front foot fighter or a back foot fighter? Because
I think he can do it all. I think Paul, number one, another thing Ashley said, just the way he looks is imposing, but the guy is an athlete. Like he runs quick times compared to like even lightweights. I believe he can do it all. If he puts his mind to it, I believe he can be a front foot and back foot fighter. And I've never believed that you should be just a front foot fighter. A front foot fighter, if you can't box on the back foot, the day you get pushed back, you lost the fight. So you need to be able to box on the back foot.
Absolutely.
Any Tom, Dick and Harry on the street can come forward swinging punches. So I believe he can do both. He can definitely move on the back foot. He's got some natural skills that I like, which are very strange for a man of his size, that he can get away with doing. I don't know how he does some of the things, like his head movement and moving out of the way of shots from the outside. He ducks underneath. I'm like, shit, man, you're 6'2" and you're ducking underneath shots like that. So he's very athletic, which means he's always going to be good. But once he builds that base, and once he works on some things that are going to complement his style, then we'll start to see, Paul Lieber at his best. But I think give him another 6-7 months, then we're going to start seeing some real big changes.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. You talk so much sense, and it's great to hear your hear your input. I mean, he came in the ring looking like a Tonka buffy.
Whoa, guys. Sorry, so there might be a cruiserweight tournament.
Oh yeah.
But you got to try and get Paul in that.
That's a good point.
Hey, he should be a promoter.
Yeah,
it might be.
Oh no, wait.
He's giving out names.
Wait, 1 second.
Nah, bro. Honestly, like, not to go into it too deeply. But
Paul, he's hooking you up every fight other than his brother.
He's shouting about every fight now.
Nah, do you know what?
Every fight other than Miles is basically saying
you're managing him.
He's doing this.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, is Soul went out of his way to help me at a time when he felt like I needed it. So I'll always return that energy. But there's supposed to be, because KSI had the cruiserweight belt and he vacated it, and so they're thinking of doing a tournament for it. So I don't know whether that's going to be a 4-man tournament or 8-man tournament. If it's a 4-man, it might be difficult to get into. But if they make it like a 8-man tournament, like the lightweight one, then there's going to be room for debutants as well. So that's that might be your way in, bro.
Right, yeah, good to me.
One last thing I'd like to pick all of your brains on is, obviously you're seeing a lot of, we all know what's going on, we're seeing a lot of fights in gyms on Instagram lives. We're seeing a lot of fights in gyms on Instagram lives where maybe the weights aren't matching, whether the medical teams are good enough, no referee, all that kind of stuff, doing huge numbers on Insta Live. Would you guys ever take part in something like that? And how do you guys feel about, these sort of unlicensed fights in gyms on Insta Live?
So go on, Paul.
I wouldn't take any fights without talking to Soul first, to be fair. I think when you do these fights, it's the safety of yourself, safety of the opponent, and everyone around you. Yeah, it's good to watch, but and then boxing, you're hitting someone in the head. Like, anything can go wrong. If you have the right people to help you out or make the right call, you're going to get some serious damage.
So what do you think about the Insta Live, I won't name names, but the Insta Live fights in gyms, unlicensed, and, no referee, whether there's insurance or not, or whatnot, and medical teams. Does it not sit right with you, or are you good by it?
I'm not good by it. I think, I don't want to kind of...
No, say what you feel.
But yeah, I don't like it. None of my fighters would be fighting on anything like that, for sure. I like regulated shows. One of my fighters was talking about one of them, and I was like, nah, no way. I just wouldn't even be in the corner. I wouldn't be there because it's dangerous, man. Boxing's dangerous enough with well regulated. And I tell you what, the boxing purists are waiting for something bad to happen. I don't think not hoping, but they're waiting for something bad to happen in this scene, so they can point the finger. But loads of bad things have happened in the pro boxing world. Like, people have died, people have had brain injuries, people have not been the same again. But I believe that the way that the shows, like yourselves, Misfits, and the proper show Star,
controlled environments,
proper referees, medical teams around. These shows are safe, and if something happens, you know what? It is a boxing match, and we never want that to happen. We never want anything bad to happen to fighters. But if it did happen, I wouldn't put it on your guys. I wouldn't be like, oh, look, DKM, someone got hurt there because you put on a good show. But those ones, you're asking for it. If something happens there, then these guys have every reason. These pro boxing, professional boxing purists, they have every reason to point the finger and say, man, this is what these guys do, and look what happens. What are you expecting? It's like a street fight, isn't it?
Coach, so I mean, we feel that we save more lives than anything. Then boxing saves more lives than it takes. And fighting in a controlled environment, the guys that come on DKM, no joke, they come in the best shape they've ever been in, mentally and physically. They're drinking and eating clean. Usually they train hard. We don't let people in on the shows if they're out of shape and out of condition. So, but sometimes I think it doesn't sit right when you see people fighting in a gym to get more followers with no referee. It doesn't sit right with the purists, like you said. And I think some of the purists are kind of waiting for a bit of an issue to happen so they can say, I told you so. But you don't want to see that happen, do you?
No, we don't. And I think, even though those gym ones can be done properly, if they're done properly, if they got medical team, they got proper referee, people getting sussed out, then okay. Like, it's just like a amateur gym show, isn't it? If it's done correctly. But I think if it's not, then it doesn't matter whether it's in a gym, whether it's in a big venue, but wherever it is, if it's not done correctly with the safety measures in place, then it's always you're asking for people to point a finger. So for example, if they had all the safety protocols in place at those live fights, in the gym, and God forbid something happened, you can't really point a finger then, because these guys, they've done everything to make sure the fighters are safe and stuff like that. But if they're not, then it's just not right, is it? It's just like a street fight.
Yeah. Raksu, would you jump on one of them?
Bro, like obviously, like I wouldn't now because I've been lucky enough to be part of Misfits for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't part of Misfits, then yeah, man, I'd jump.
Yeah,
I'd jump
sorry,
on
I
there.
should say, yeah, it's a step backwards for you now, but I mean,
But yeah,
principle.
I would have done it because I think whilst it might not be the wisest decision in the world,
People
I
are
think
desperate to get to Misfits and they'll do anything by the looks of it.
But not even just that. I feel like we've all turned up to a gym at some point before we started taking it seriously, and just started sparring someone without the coach even being there. And like, you're just, you know what I mean? Like you're just doing it. So
Yeah.
I feel like for the people that are on those lives, they're getting to do that, and they have the opportunity to get life-changing amounts of clout if they can leverage it properly.
Yeah.
Some people have literally, like, going back to the old Wicked and Bad ones, the Sunday Smoke.
Yeah.
There's certain people that have changed their whole lives.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think I mean, I'm speaking with, I run my own chat show on another channel, but I speak with fighters all the time. And again, with the purists, sometimes it doesn't sit right that guys with a blue tick and some followers can get to main event when you've got an amateur who's much better fighter than some of these guys. He's not earning any money. Only 200 people follow him, and he's a brilliant fighter, training hard.
Yeah.
Yet, sometimes, and we're guilty of it as well. Our last show at the O2 was two guys that never fought before. One was on Married at First Sight, and one was a TikToker. But everyone wanted to see the fight.
Yeah.
But they trained hard, and it was in a good environment. We had a huge stacked undercard. Libba was co-main event with Voicey. There was loads of other good fights on it. It was a great night. Most people will tell you it was a brilliant night. But do you think sometimes, can you see why it doesn't fit right with the boxing purists?
So I understand it, but at the end of the day, we live in a capitalist world, and the business is all about value and what value you can offer. Because even if you remove influencer boxing, the world champion with the highest knockout ratio is Artur Beterbiev, right? Yeah. That's the most devastating champion that we have in the world at the moment. I mean, him or Inoue or Terence Crawford, but by knockout percentage, it's Beterbiev. He doesn't get paid anywhere near what Canelo gets because he doesn't bring in the same amount of eyes. So even when you take it away from influencer boxing, you got people like Jaime Munguia, you got David Benavidez. You have people who are phenomenal boxers, but they won't get paid the top dollar because they don't have the draw. And then on the other hand, you got people like Tank, who cherry picks every single opponent and is avoiding the harder fights and is making more money than most people. So it's not really an influencer boxing thing. For as long as there's been prize fighting, people care about who they're seeing in the ring, and the bigger following you got, the more money you make.
I back that as well, because same, if there was no influencer boxing, those amateurs who have not getting paid for the fights may not still get paid.
Yeah.
If there was, they might still not get paid. They might still be boxing in gyms, even because amateurs, they're amazing. But if no one knows them, they're not going anywhere. Influencer boxing doesn't stop that from happening for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I had an influencer coach come on actually and talk about, listen, these guys have earned it. If you can sell tickets, then you can if you can sell tickets, you can be on big shows. It is a ticket selling industry. It is an entertainment business at the end of the day. So, some of these guys have earned it. But I must say as well, the standard is, people think of white collar. When you say a word white collar to someone, people think, oh, it's a man from the Dog and Duck throwing haymakers and drinking a few pints during camp. But I'm telling you, I commentate on a lot of these shows, and there's some really good fighters on these shows. And I think both of you guys will agree with that. There's some dangerous brothers on some of these shows. You know what I mean? There's guys that can fight now.
my phone's on 1%, so if I disappear, that's why, by the way.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I'll wrap it up anyway now. It makes sense. But I've really enjoyed having you both on, and I hope I can speak with you both more in the future. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for jumping in, Ashley.
Oh, there's his phone.
There's his phone. He probably just missed a bit while I was spanking him.
Yeah, literally that's his phone cut.
He probably thinks that guy's a right arsehole. He didn't even say thanks.
Not possible with you, man. No one thinks that.
Thank you, my guy. Listen, it's been great to have you on. I know they've stormed your limelight.
Nah, I loved it, man.
Yeah, I wanted to get them on, if I'm honest, Paul, because I thought, it's good to. I love like bringing face-offs and having sharing multiple opinions, and I love working with you. So no problem. You're welcome to come on anytime.
Thank you, man.
I'd definitely love to get you back on.
Yeah, but thanks for having me. I'd love to be back again, man. I love these things.
Yeah, mate. We need you back on DKM. We need you doing what you do. Yeah. I do agree with Coach Sol, and you know that as well. You've said that to me offline.
Yeah.
That you were a little bit disappointed in the performance.
Yeah.
But as I said, you got to give credit to your opponent as well. He made it hard for you.
Yeah.
And listen, I think it's the best time for these guys to be fighting you. If Raksu's brother don't fight you now, you're only going to be much better in 12 months.
Hey, to be fair, he gave me a whole list of names, man. I might have to hire him as my manager.
Right, exactly. He gave you a list of names. Everyone fight everyone apart from Miles.
Yeah, mate, I'll take it. You know what? I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, but mate, you're going to get better and better.
Yeah.
And I, for one, can't wait to see your journey unfold. Let's stay in touch. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
It's been another pleasure. Always is a pleasure. Send my love to the family and the missus. And I hopefully will see you on very soon.
Thank you very much, man. In a bit, man.
Yes, Mr. Liver.